Hi everybody, this is Noelle from Petitti Garden Centers, and we're here at a beautiful vegetable garden. And I wanted to point out a few things as far as tomato care during the season. We've got an assortment of cherries and paste tomatoes or pear tomatoes and all different kinds here. And for the most part, they are going gangbusters, looking great. They probably really appreciated a lot of the moisture that they received early this growing season. But what we're seeing on these tomatoes is a little bit of leaf spot. And so what happens is the leaf spot starts to develop at the base of the tomato, and you'll start to see these little brown spots all over the foliage. You'll start to see that foliage start to yellow, and it kind of increasingly moves up the vine of the tomato, and that's not unusual at all. With a wet season, we have a lot of rainfall. The rain splashes in the soil. The splash up actually can cause or spread more fungal spores and diseases. So you do tend to see leaf spot, and it starts to move, almost like a blight, if you will. It'll start to gather, and then you'll start to see the foliage go down. You know what you need to do? You can spray copper fungicide, no problem whatsoever. The other thing is you can remove those bottom leaves, and that's gonna help reduce that splash up. It's gonna help reduce the signs of that leaf spot that you see on your tomato leaves. Another thing that we wanted to show you, and we have a close-up picture of it, and a lot of customers ask us about this, I'm gonna put this down right here, is suckering on your tomatoes. And on this beautiful paste tomato vine, you will find there's the main stem, so that's your upright vertical stem growing, and then you've got a side branch, okay, very strong side branch here, and in between the two, so they make a 90-degree angle, okay? And in between the two, there's gonna be this little growth that's kind of shooting out at 45-degree angles. And so at that 45-degree, what you want is, all you wanna do is pinch that sucker out, okay? It's just suckering growth, and you're gonna pinch it out with your fingers. It's very soft and tender. And it's just like a sucker on a tree. It is pulling energy away from the plant. It's pulling water, it's pulling nutrients away from the main plant and from the flower and fruit development on the tomato plant. So whenever you see the suckers, you can just start from the top and you kind of go down and you look at your main branches, and your main branches are kind of, like I said, sticking out at about a 90-degree angle. And if you have any of that little growth that's growing out at a 45-degree, just pinch it off. It'll be really, really helpful. Your branches will develop a much thicker, branching and much stronger, and that'll work really, really well for you. One other thing that I wanted to mention that we see midsummer towards the late end on some tomatoes is that at the bottom end of the tomato fruit is your blossom end. That's where your flower was, right? And we'll see blossom end rot. It's the black sunken bottoms of the fruit. And that actually comes from a calcium deficiency. For the most part, there's another cause for it too. It's actually erratic watering. So let's say we get a huge rainstorm, you get a lot of water, you don't end up needing to water the garden for a while, then it sort of dries during fruit development, and then you'll water, and that water will, come up again, or that water level or moisture level in the water will come up again. And that erratic watering, and sometimes you can help it, sometimes you can't, can also cause some of that blossom end rot. And also that water is also washing calcium out of the soil that you tried to feed your tomatoes. So there's a couple things you can do. Of course, continue to feed your tomatoes with Tomato-tone. This is high in calcium. It's a great organic fertilizer, slow release. You're applying it about once a month in the vegetable garden. You can use it not only on tomatoes, but you can use it on everything you're growing in the vegetable garden. So this is a great product to release more calcium to the tomatoes. The other thing that you can use, this is a pretty cool product. This is liquid calcium. It's called Rot Stop. And so you can spray your tomato foliage, you can spray the vegetable, you can spray the entire plant with this, and it's liquid calcium, so it absorbs a lot faster into the leaf system. So I'm going to tell you, these tomatoes are pretty happy. I found one tomato that has a little bit of blossom end rot on it. So I'm just going to spray real quick around that tomato, and this plant is going to do just great, absorbing some of that great liquid calcium for it, and it'll help keep those tomatoes really, really healthy. So that's always a nice solution if you are running into some of that blossom end rot issues. Other than that, really enjoy your tomatoes.